coming up on the September 24th edition of Carolina Week.
Loud protests from university workers Tuesday will tell you why they're angry.
Swapping songs over the internet could land you in trouble with the law and the university. That story coming up.
And it's a famous campus site. We all know it sounds, but how does it work? We'll explain.
All those stories and more.
Carolina Week starts now.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening, I'm Andrea McAfee.
And I'm Courtney Robinson. Thanks for joining us for the September 24th edition of Carolina Week. Our top story tonight, the controversy created by the university's summer reading book, Nickel and Dimed, has hit close to home. Housekeepers say their low salaries and poor working conditions mirror what author Barbara Ehrenreich wrote about. Carolina Week reporter Jenny McClendon has that story.
We will not bow down to racism.
It's not the first time university workers have protested about their working conditions.
Justice, we will not bow down.
But their complaints grew louder than usual Tuesday as a group of housekeepers gathered as union members in front of South Building.
Who are we?
The workers say they're underpaid and unfairly treated, an argument central to Nickel and Dimed, the university's summer reading selection.
All the stuff that Barbara Ehrenreich talks about, it all happens right here on their campus.
That's why housekeepers invited the book's author, Barbara Ehrenreich, to hold a teach-in on campus Tuesday.
It should be something people's proud to do. Proud to say I work for the university as a housekeeper. Shouldn't be with a whole lot of crap with it. It doesn't have to be this way.
Some say they hope the teach-in will broaden the controversy caused by Nickel and Dimed.
When I listened that some of the real right-wingers talking about how liberal the university, liberal to who?
No university administrators attended Tuesday's teach-in, but Chancellor James Measer did make a statement saying, "I regret that I am unable to participate on September 23rd, but I do hope that you and your colleagues will forward some of your ideas to our task force for a better workplace." A task force of faculty, staff, and students he designed this summer to examine workers' issues on campus. Housekeepers say the task force is a start.
I'd like to see the chancellor open his mind and eyes to some of the problems that he can correct.
But they say they'll keep protesting until their voices are heard. In Chapel Hill, I'm Jenny McClendon, Carolina Week.
Measer says the task force will consider the housekeepers' complaints when it makes recommendations regarding workplace changes. He expects that list to be ready by the end of October.
Recently, R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company announced sweeping layoffs. As many as 2,600 people will lose their jobs. A once booming North Carolina business, Big Tobacco has fallen on hard times. Because of steady decline in tobacco sales, RJR is eliminating 40% of its workforce and rethinking its marketing approach. The effects of the cuts will be felt throughout the state, even in Chapel Hill as graduating seniors look for jobs. Carolina Week will have more about this next week as we talk with students and RJ employees affected by the layoffs.
Many students listen to downloaded music and it seems harmless, but those songs could cost you your computer.
File sharing, honorable civil disobedience, or shoplifting.
UNC law professor John Connolly asked a question many UNC Chapel Hill students are asking these days. As MP3 file sharing among college students increases nationwide, many universities are cracking down. Carolina has a zero-tolerance policy for illegal file sharing. Students here are required to sign the honor code, which includes not participating in file share downloading. These days, many record companies are suing for copyright theft. Director of ITS Computing Policy, Gene Smythe, says students on this campus are among those facing lawsuits.
We saw last spring, I think, 4 students who were sharing a lot of music brought to court and all settled out of court for amounts between about $12,000 and $20,000.
Last year, more than 100 Carolina students were caught illegally downloading. Smythe's solution is simple.
I'd suggest not starting if you haven't already.
But one student says she's not worried. We'll call her Sue. She asked that we not show her face.
I didn't really pay attention to the honor code that much when I signed this statement. I knew that file sharing was kind of against the rules, but it's just one of those things that everybody does, and I enjoy downloading music, so I'm probably going to do it anyway.
Because it's Honor and Integrity Week, students are reminded that file sharing is an honor code violation and could get you in a lot of trouble. ITS is asking students to bring their computers in to have file sharing programs deleted.
Chapel Hill police have arrested and charged a man with second-degree felony rape for an incident Monday night. Gregory Donald Valdez is confined to the Orange County Jail on a $15,000 bond. The incident occurred near Oak Terrace Apartments off Airport Road. The victim was treated at UNC hospitals. And on a much lighter note, sunken ships, buried treasure, and pirates.
And not just in movie theaters, here in North Carolina too. We'll tell you where when Carolina Week returns.
To change the world, you don't have to be rich, or famous, or play ball, or lead countries. All you have to do is tell your family you want to be an organ donor. Talk to your family about organ donation. Talk to your family about donating life.
¿Cree usted que sus hijos reciben suficiente arte? Ya sea a través de la poesía, el baile, la música o el drama. El arte abre las puertas de la creatividad. Si usted tiene solamente 30 minutos en la semana, integren a sus hijos en el arte. Arte, pide más. AmericansForTheArts.org. Are your kids getting enough art? Whether through poetry, dance, music, or drama, the arts open the doors to creativity. As a mother and teacher, I know that arts education can help our children develop confidence and a better understanding of the world around them. Even if you have just 30 minutes a week, get your kids more involved in the arts and think about the kind of world we can leave behind for our children and our children's children.
Art. Ask for more. AmericansForTheArts.org.
A town council vote about whether to require sprinklers in bars is delayed until October 8th because of Hurricane Isabel. The town council was supposed to vote on the proposal this past Monday, but the fire department was responding to the hurricane and couldn't distribute copies of the proposal to bar owners and managers. The proposal requires bars that primarily serve alcohol and hold more than 200 people to install sprinklers within 5 years.
Grab your boarding pass and climb on board. A nautical exhibition has dropped anchor in Raleigh. The ship sank 91 years ago. More than 1,500 people died. Today, Titanic, the artifact exhibit, is on display at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. The recreated rooms give us a sense of how the passengers lived, and the giant iceberg visitors can touch gives us a sense of how the passengers died. Patricia Marshall says we can apply lessons learned from the exhibit to life today.
You know, in combination of seeing this right on top of the hurricane that has just happened this last weekend, I think that drives home the fact that you have to prepare for whatever kind of disasters that you'll come across during your lifetime.
Museum officials predict more than 150,000 visitors will come to the exhibit before it ends in January.
Another sunken ship is of interest to North Carolinians and those who are fascinated by pirate legends.
Amanda Eiler joins us now to talk about the ship and the pirates, who are both famous and infamous.
It definitely depends on a perspective, Courtney, but anyone who met up with Blackbeard when he ruled the high seas would definitely say infamous.
It's the stuff legends are made of. A pirate ship, more than a dozen cannons, and gold dust, all in a watery grave a mere 23 feet below the ocean's surface. One question, whose was it?
Anywhere you find a ship or a spot in the creek or the river, inevitably it was Blackbeard's.
Queen Anne's Revenge was the flagship of the most infamous pirate of all time. Researchers say it rests off the coast of North Carolina. It survived more than 200 years on the ocean floor. Since its 1996 discovery, only bits and pieces from the ship have been brought to the surface. Mark Wild-Ramsing, an underwater archaeologist, is heading up the recovery of this modern-day booty.
With less than 2% and almost 10,000 artifacts, we multiply that, we're talking about millions of artifacts.
Wild-Ramsing and his team dive 1 month a year and spend the other 11 processing artifacts at the UNC Chapel Hill Institute of Marine Sciences in Morehead City. Cannonballs and a syringe are only a small part of the loot. For the project's computer technician, Karen Browning, it's things like this chunk of rock that keep her coming back for more.
You never know. It's a surprise every day almost.
Questions still linger about whether it's actually Blackbeard's ship, but Wild-Ramsing has found his answer inside a cannon.
One of them was loaded not just with a cannonball, with spikes, with these iron spikes that they were shooting out. And that's to me, pretty much says pirate.
Do you think this wise, boy? Crossing blades with a pirate?
So how do these big screen scallywags compare with Blackbeard and his gang?
I'm sure they were pretty flamboyant and dashing, but I think they were, to be realistic, they were pretty rough characters that you wouldn't really want to meet out on the high seas.
One thing's certain. Each dive brings Wild-Ramsing closer to his own treasure, an artifact bearing the insignia of the Queen Anne's Revenge. Proof that the ship in these waters is Blackbeard's.
Now, guys, that's what the researchers are working to find, that one artifact that says Queen Anne's Revenge on it, so they'll know that it's his ship.
And some other historians contend it's actually a military vessel, right?
That's what a lot of them think, but based on like the artifacts they found and things like that, the common belief now is that it is Blackbeard's.
Well, thanks, Amanda.
Thanks, guys.
And fall's officially here. It's getting a little chilly out there. Scott, can you tell us a little bit how this week's weather is looking?
Thanks, Courtney. You're absolutely correct. Fall temperatures have already begun to show up around campus, and before long, people will be pulling out their sweaters. Can you believe that? But first, let's take a look at our weather question for today, which is, what can steer hurricanes towards the U.S. shore? Is it A, an Alberta Clipper, B, Bermuda High, C, Caribbean Low, or D, Hurricane Hunters? I'll have that answer and your Carolina Week forecast after the break.
Excuse me, do you guys get tested for HIV?
Tested for HIV?
No way, man, that's just not where we're at right now.
It's just about us and our music.
What you doing to me? What you doing to me?
I just dropped 32 pounds this year, and boy, do I feel better.
Drop it. See how good it feels.
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. The first full week of fall has begun, and the nice weather has students out and about studying and taking advantage of this welcome change. The leaves haven't turned quite yet, but with cooler temperatures on the way, it won't be too long before a pleasant array of colors will accompany students walking across campus. Let's go ahead now and take a look at our satellite map, and as you can see, the frontal boundary that moved through on Friday night, providing our area with showers and heavy rain pours, has begun to clear off the coast, and in its wake, high pressure is keeping our temperatures pleasant and also keeping our overnight lows in the chilly side. And as we take a look in the middle portion of the United States, you can make out some clouds which are actually streaming in from the remnants of what was Hurricane Marty. Looking at our surface map, you can still see that the remnants of Marty is an area of low pressure now in portions of the southwest, which is providing showers to portions of Arizona as well as New Mexico. And if you notice up to your north, we're going to have a couple of disturbances continue to clip our area. One will come through Thursday, but it will fizzle out in the mountains, and our next chance for rain will come Saturday. And as we take a look at our Carolina Week 4-day forecast, you can see that on Friday, we should have a high temperature of about 80 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Now, the question mark comes in on Saturday. We'll have a high temperature of about 78 degrees, and it's not going to be a total washout. We'll have some isolated showers during the day. And on Sunday, our high temperature should top out at about 77 with partly cloudy skies. And on Monday, it's going to be sunny with a high temperature of 75. And our morning low is going to be cool at about 54. So we're definitely seeing some cooler weather move into our area. If you're heading out to the beaches, expect the high temperature on Saturday to top out at about 83 degrees. There will be a chance for some scattered showers, but clearing out on Sunday with partly cloudy skies and a high temperature of about 81. And if you're heading out to the mountains, expect cool conditions, and also we're going to have a chance for those showers on Saturday, but clearing out Sunday is going to be nice with a high temperature of about 73 degrees. Now, folks heading out to Carter Finley Stadium for the showdown, UNC versus the Wolfpack, the game time should start at about 2 o'clock under mostly cloudy skies with a temperature of about 77, and there may be some isolated showers during the game. So do any of you have an answer to our weather question for today?
Well, Scott, that's a tough one, but I'm going to go with B.
You're going to go with B. Well, actually, you're correct. The correct answer is B, a Bermuda high. Now, high pressure has clockwise flow, and that clockwise flow can help steer hurricanes towards the U.S. shore.
Thanks, Scott.
You're
Luke Notestein joins us now to take a look at sports. Luke, what's going on?
Well, thanks, guys. Well, our football team isn't doing so well, but some other Tar Heel athletes are sticking it to the competition, and undefeated might be in one team's vocabulary. More when Carolina Week continues.
How you doing?
Hi.
Hi.
Have a nice day.
You too.
Thanks.
If only child abuse were this easy to recognize. If you even suspect abuse, call 1-800-4-A-CHILD. All calls are anonymous and confidential. Trust your instincts.
If you're not recycling, you're throwing it all away.
Rivalries are the fuel that ignites college athletics. One rivalry that fans can always rely on to guarantee heat is UNC versus NC State. Unless you're willing to shell out nearly $10 for pay-per-view, consider your ability to watch the game on TV torched. Surely there must be some loyal Tar Heel fans willing to forfeit some cash to cheer for their 0-3 football team.
Watch the Carolina football game this weekend?
Yeah, I want to.
Did you know it was on pay-per-view?
No, I didn't.
Are you still going to watch the game this Saturday?
I don't think so.
Oh, no, I'm not going to pay for a pay-per-view. That's I'm going to get my friends to do it.
If it was going to be close, I'd probably pay it, but since UNC is probably going to win by over 30 points, I probably won't.
It's on pay-per-view. Would you pay to see Carolina football on pay-per-view?
No, not really.
Do you know people who would pay $10 to get together and watch this game?
It's $10?
No, I don't think so, especially being 0-3. If they had a better record, then I think other people might pay for them.
If they had a winning record, would you pay?
Possibly.
I would be willing to bet that not one single student watches it on TV if they have to pay for it.
It's more fun to see my team win than it is to see them lose.
Let's say you were able to see field hockey on pay-per-view and they were undefeated in the last game of the season. Would you pay to see them?
No.
Where's the school spirit? As you can see, students here are very cheap. The Carolina field hockey team is living large right now. The Heels are undefeated, they're #2 in the nation, and junior Kelsey Kareen is the ACC Player of the Week. She would live up to her title Tuesday against Miami of Ohio. Kareen makes a nice move and gets the assist on this Carrie Falgowski goal. Rachel Dawson drills one off the penalty corner, and Carrie Fetting-Smith gets all tingly on this score. It was all Tar Heels in this one. Kelsey Kareen scored three goals of her own, including this one, to lead the Heels to a 10-0 whooping against Miami of Ohio. Coach Karen Shelton and the Heels are now focused on their marquee matchup against #1 Wake Forest on Friday.
I think it's going to be a dogfight. I'm excited to play the game. It's over in Winston-Salem. We respect Wake Forest a great deal. They're the defending national champion.
They're the only team ranked ahead of us, so it's definitely a big game. And they're a team that we always like to play. They're our buddies, kind of. We always cheer for them. I guess really the only time we don't cheer for them is when we play them.
We'll see who's really #1 when the #1 Deacons face off against the #2 Heels on Friday. UNC was sporting some honor Tuesday night at an athletics and ethics panel sponsored by the Carolina Honor Court. UNC administrators, former players, and the women's soccer coach were at the Union Auditorium to shed some light on how Carolina manages to rank high in both academics and athletics. The panel focused on the never-ending pressure student-athletes face on the street, in the classroom, and especially on the field. Coach Anson Dorrance joked about how he makes ethical decisions on the field.
And then I'm on a personal mission. Every time I see a referee, in my discussion with the referee, in the middle of the discussion, I try to grab the referee's jersey and throw the referee to the ground and ask him how that feels. And usually they, because I throw at least a third of them to the ground, usually they tell me it doesn't feel very good. And then I say, well, call it then, because it's something most of them ignore.
On a serious note, Dorrance recognizes that coaches, athletes, and officials have to work together to maintain ethics in sports. The Carolina volleyball team has been on the road a lot this season. In their first ACC match, the Tar Heels looked to serve up some home cooking against Clemson. The Heels would start defense of their ACC crown, and this would be a nip-and-tuck affair. Outside hitter Molly Piles says, hello. This is just one of her 17 kills on the night. Carolina takes the first game 30-27, but Leslie Finn and the Tigers would not go away quietly. She serves up something wicked, and Clemson wins the second game. Coach Joe Segula said, come together, guys, right now. The Tar Heels respond, easily winning the third game. Then, in a very tight fourth game, Katie Wright says, bam, game and match winner. Heels win this one 3-1. Coming off its first loss of the season, a 1-0 setback at Virginia, the men's soccer team looks to rebound against arch-rival Duke. Game time is set for 7 p.m. Wednesday night at Fetzer Field. The Heels are 5-1 and 1 on the year. Well, guys, men's soccer team just lost, but hopefully they can start winning again. Hopefully the women's can continue winning as well.
Thank you, Luke. And we know it's exciting to see Carolina Week news anchors on campus.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. But what if you had a chance to see newsman Tom Brokaw? Well, you do. We'll explain next.
Introducing the all-new Enclave. It's a minivan to the max, with features like remote control sliding rear doors, 150 cable channels, a full sky view roof, temperature-controlled cup holders, and the 6-point navigation system. It's the minivan for families on the go.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at carolinaweek.org. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNCCH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.
Hey, I'm a bartender, not a parent. Someone underage wants to drink? What do I care? I'm just trying to make the register ring, okay? If they're not drinking here, they're gonna go somewhere else. Who's it hurting anyhow? Can't they have some fun too?
Ignore underage drinking and you open up a way for them to drink. An average of 42 people under the age of 21 die every week in alcohol-related crashes. Say nothing, do nothing, stop nothing.
I am a Tar Heel born. I'm a Tar Heel bred. And when I die, I'm a Tar Heel dead. No one knows the real Carolina like a student. Carolina Week, the student news show.
Seniors, graduation is months away, but you already have a chance to celebrate. Senior afternoon in Polk Place will be Thursday afternoon from 2 until 3:30. You can gather the senior class on the steps of South Building for free ice cream and music. Got unquenchable thirst for football and Coke products? Some people who fall into the category lucked out today when Coca-Cola Football Town, USA, dropped into the pit for a visit. Brave students demonstrated their hidden quarterback skills. Everyone else enjoyed the satisfying and free products. If you missed the action today, look for the Big Bread truck at the Chapel Hill Food Line starting at 10 a.m. Thursday morning.
Tom Brokaw will make a live appearance at the Friday Center in Chapel Hill Thursday night. Live via satellite, that is. Brokaw will be discussing the effect constant news coverage has on viewers with Dr. Gail Saltz. The interview begins at 8 p.m. and is free and open to the public. A live panel discussion will follow the interview. It helps us to get class on time, and sometimes it plays a familiar tune.
Ever wonder how the bell tower works and who's in charge of it? Dana Hackett has that story.
You can see it from miles away, and you can hear its melodious ring from almost anywhere on campus. It's the bell tower, and many people don't give a second thought as to who makes sure each bell tone is on time and in tune. When Travis Kephart isn't playing his tuba in the marching band, he's devoting some of his extra time serving as the master bell ringer.
I asked the band director, who is officially in charge of the tower, about the position. I knew that a student in band every year gets chosen to do it, and this year no one else had asked him, and he thought that I was qualified for the position. And that's just sort of how it happened.
It happened almost 2 years ago, and since he took the job, Kephart has thrown himself into being the bell ringer.
I have to set the clock and check it against itself, and I usually go through and review the programs to make sure that everything is still correctly saved.
As the master bell ringer, Kephart programs songs through this keyboard into a computer. He then makes sure this computer stays on time because it ultimately controls when the tower rings. UNC Band's director Jeffrey Fuchs chose Kephart because of his excellent musical ability and his fascination with the 172-foot structure. Fuchs says he'll truly miss Kephart when his duties end in December.
I'll miss the fact that he has just thrown himself into being the bell ringer at Carolina. I can't imagine anyone ever taking such great pride in that position.
Whether it's programming a special song request or giving a tour to avid seniors, Kephart says he loves his job.
When I go to the top, I really feel sort of like Quasimodo because I get the bird's eye view of everything. My favorite part of the job is being able to know that when I go and set the thing to ring or when I reprogram the songs, that I'm affecting the campus environment.
The campus community might not be able to pick Travis Kephart out of a crowd, but we all recognize what he does. That and the view are good enough for him. In Chapel Hill, I'm Dana Hackett, Carolina Week.
Kephart will play an active role in training the next master bell ringer.
The new person will begin his or her duties next semester. And Kephart is also a member of the band, so he'll be at the game this Saturday.
Against the Wolfpacks, I hope we come out with a win. We really need it.
Yes, we really need this win. Football games, they're still fun, but it'd be nice to have a winning game.
Yes, definitely. And that does it for this edition of Carolina Week. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you back here next week. Good night.